Welcome to the JMax Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Maxwell. Today we're talking about burning fat rapidly. Now it's kind of funny that we're talking about this because I think a year or two ago I was reading Man's Search for Meaning, great book, and it talks about this one guy's experiences as a Holocaust victim. And I guess near the end of it, he comes to a few conclusions, but the one thing that really struck me is he said that everyone needs to feel true suffering. It's what humans need to do. And then last night, I was reading a book by Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Super great book if you have troubles with how you feel about life. And one thing that really struck me there is he mentioned suffering too. He says, everyone has suffering. So when it comes to your job, you suffer with your job. When it comes to having too much money, you suffer. When it comes to having not enough money, you suffer. There's always something you're going to be suffering about. So you need to pick and choose what you want to suffer about and what problems you enjoy solving. And then that way you'll be truly happy with your life. But the one thing I really think that suffering is super important is you get to feel what it's like to actually suffer. So then when it comes to something like missing the last episode of Game of Thrones, you're not going to feel as bad about that because you're going to realize, I don't have it too bad after all. And that's why I think doing a really aggressive fat loss phase is something that everyone could benefit from. So, sorry, I just wanted to turn my phone off. So, when it comes to that, it's super important because you get to experience something that is really life-changing. You get to suffer for a little bit, but you get to experience some really great results. And the results here are losing fat very rapidly. So I would totally recommend it. On top of this, I know there's a lot of people that are okay with the suffering because they just like that suffering feeling because they know they're going to be getting some wicked abs from it. They're going to be losing a lot of fat from it. And that's really important for a lot of people too. And it can actually be kind of fun. Sometimes it's the journey to the fat loss instead of the actual fat loss that people really enjoy. So let's look at it this way. It's going to be 4 weeks. You're going to be hungry. You're not going to have a lot of energy. You're going to be craving weird things like peanut butter or nuts. I always just crave peanut butter. I don't know what you're going to crave, but it's going to be something weird. And you're just going to have to live with the feeling of always being hungry all the time. And you're going to eventually get used to it. But the first couple of weeks are a bit tougher. And then near the 4th week is when it starts to get easier. But then that's when you're finishing up anyway. So first things first, we got to look at your diet. You need to eat very low calories. So it's going to be body weight times 9 to 10. So let's say you're 200 pounds. That's like 1,800 to 2,000 calories per day. Really, really low. And then as you lose weight, you're going to lower your calories and you're going to recalculate it. So every week you recalculate that. Make sure you're tracking your calories, something like MyFitnessPal, the app. Really great for that. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to be eating a minimum amount of protein, and it's body weight times 0.82. So if you're 200 pounds, your minimum amount of protein to eat daily is 164 grams of protein. There's no negotiating there. And the reason I gave this figure instead of body weight times 1 is because you're going to be eating very low calories. And research shows the minimum amount of protein you want to have is 0.82 grams per pound. A body weight, so that's what I'm recommending here because when you're eating very low calories, it's hard to get in a lot of protein without going over your calories unless you're eating just super lean amounts of protein and drinking a lot of protein shakes. I want to try to make this a little more flexible for you so you can eat a little bit more foods. Next thing is our fats and our carbs. Fats and carbs can kind of come from whatever you want. You can have as high or low there as you want. Just don't have zero of either and you should be okay. With that being said, I'm going to limit your carb window. So you're allowed to have carbs before, during, and after your workout, as well as in the evenings. And this will help you cycle carbohydrates a little bit easier. what we're gonna do here is we're using the carbohydrates around the workout, so you're gonna have more energy. So it's gonna limit the amount of feeling like crap that you're going to feel during your workouts, because if your workouts are suffering, you're not going to get as great results as you could. And it's an easy fix. It's all you have to do is eat some carbohydrates around your workout. I really like having carbs around the workout too, because during the workout is our time to not only burn calories, but it's also our time to build muscle, which is a lot more important. And you need to have as much muscle as possible while you're dieting, because you do not or when you're eating low calories like that, it's easier to lose muscle, and you do not want to lose muscle. You want to hold on to that as much muscle as possible, if not build muscle, because this is how you stay lean. Leanness is having a higher amount of muscle and a lower amount of fat. So if we're just losing weight, which means we're losing fat and muscle, then your body fat percentage might not change, and you're not going to be any leaner, even though you weigh less. So that covers that. One thing I would really recommend is this is an awesome pre-workout meal. What you're going to do is have half a cup of oats, heat that up in the microwave or on the stovetop. Once it cools down a bit, I want you to mix 30 to 40 grams of whey isolate and 2 teaspoons of almond butter. Eat that before your workout, and it's going to help you have a lot more energy during your workout, and it tastes so good. So that's that. Next, we're going to cover the workouts. So for your workouts, you're going to be doing 3 to 4 full body workouts per week. And then on your off days, you're going to be doing some high intensity interval cardio training, or even like things like barbell complexes, sprints, things like that. So on your workout days, we're going to structure it like so. So the first 10 minutes, you're going to do like just a dynamic warm up to get you into it. Then next 10 minutes, you're going to work on your core exercises. The next 20 to 30 minutes, you're going to do something called, that I like to call strength supersets, but it's upper body or upper lower strength supersets. So what you're doing is you're taking an upper body exercise and you're supersetting it with a lower body exercise. What this does is not only are you going to gain muscle and strength, hopefully gain muscle at least, you're going to get a huge cardiovascular benefit, because after you do your upper body exercise, let's say you're doing bench press and you're supersetting that with a deadlift. So you're going to do bench press, which is pretty demanding, and all your blood rushes to your upper body. Then when you go to superset it with the deadlift, all your blood is going to be pushed down to the lower body, and it's another demanding exercise. So your heart is constantly going back and forth between pumping extra blood to the lower body and extra blood to the upper body. And then your heart needs to go faster and faster and faster and faster, because it needs to keep up with supplying you the blood to the muscles that are working. So that's how the upper lower strength supersets work. And they're one of my favorite ways to losing fat, because you're also building strength. It's kind of like getting cardio by lifting weights, and people don't really like to do cardio. From here, we're going to do about 10 minutes of your body building supersets and isolation exercises. So that means like, arms, calves, rear delts, even hamstrings, and just isolating those and getting a lot of blood into the muscle there. And then we're going to finish it off with about 10 minutes of a fat loss finisher. So this could be something like barbell complexes, some density training, Tabatas, high intensity interval training, bike sprints, something like this to really finish it off. And the goal of that is to promote EPOC. And EPOC, what it does is it allows you to burn excess calories up to 48 hours after your workout. So you could be burning those extra calories as you're catching up on Game of Thrones, for instance. So it's super powerful there. Then on your off days, technically off days, technically not, you're going to be doing more high intensity interval training. You do something as simple as bike sprints. I call it SHIT training, super high intensity interval training, SHIIT, SHIT training. It feels like shit, but it's really hard, but it's super, super beneficial. And research is showing that it's like one of the best ways of cardio to lose fat. So I would totally recommend it. Here's what you do. They did it with Wingate sprints. A lot of people, I know you don't have a Wingate bike, so you're just going to jump on a regular spin bike. You're going to do like a 2-minute warm up. And then what you're going to do is start pedaling as fast as you possibly can, and then start turning the intensity up. So it's getting harder and harder until you can barely sustain the speed, and you're going to keep going as fast as you can, try to keep that speed up. And what's going to happen is by like 15 to 20 seconds, you're not going to be even able to pedal anymore. That's how intense I want this to be for you. It's going to be super, super intense for like 10 to 20 seconds. Then what you're going to do is take about 2 minutes rest, and then do it again, and then just keep repeating until you get to the 10 minutes. For most people, if you've never done this before, I only recommend doing 2 rounds of that. So 2 sprints. So that's only like 30 to 40 seconds of actual work. And you're going to feel like you got destroyed. What it does though is it helps promote a lot of fat loss. And the goal here is to burn fat rapidly. Work your way up to like 8 to 10 rounds, and you're going to feel you're going to shed some crazy amounts of fat. So combine that with the full body workouts and the super low calories and the carb cycling, and that's how you burn fat rapidly. Do it for 4 weeks. I guarantee you're going to shed a lot of fat. You're going to suffer, but the results are going to be incredible. And I would recommend suffering if you've never felt that kind of suffering before, because I think it makes you a better person in life. It allows you to just experience what suffering is like, so you have that better outlook on life, so that you are a happier person when you're not suffering, and so that you know that things that you used to suffer about probably weren't worth suffering and weren't worth worrying about. And that's why I love fitness. That's why I'm here to talk to you guys about this kind of stuff. So guys, I am Jason Maxwell here from JMax Fitness, and I'll be talking to you guys next time.